What is up, ladies and gents? You know what time of day it is. It's XCN time, and in today's video we're going to be talking all about XCN. We're going to be discussing what we are seeing here right now on the charts, and I'll be giving you guys my price prediction for XCN over the coming days, as well as my targets for 2025. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. Of course, if you are a new viewer, then welcome to this channel. If you do like this sort of content, hit the like button and subscribe for more. If you are a returning viewer, as always, welcome back to this channel. It's great to see you all here. So we're going to be diving straight into this video. And of course, we're going to start off with what's been happening here on XCN in the shorter term. So the first thing that quite a few people have probably noticed here on XCN is that although we've had a nice little pump over the past 24 hours, of course, prices have come from roughly 1.7 cents all the way to a nearly 2 cents here on the price. It feels like it's lagging the whole market by quite a bit. Of course, if we have a look at Bitcoin, for example, we've basically had 2 straight days there of up only, where the prices have gone from 85,000 to a staggering 94,000 just over the past few hours. And so essentially we've seen a new bullish trend emerge here in the whole of crypto. And basically Bitcoin is taking charge. We're seeing Bitcoin making the first move in this new bullish trend. And we know that because if we have a look at every other cryptocurrency, it's not just XCN that's kind of underperforming a bit here. If we go on to something like XRP, for example, we've seen a similar pump here, but obviously quite a bit smaller. We have broken past that resistance just like Bitcoin did as well. But at the moment, XRP is underperforming Bitcoin. If we go on to Solana as well, although Solana has done very, very well, it's still underperforming Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, by and large, is making the first move here, and it's only a matter of time before we start to see altcoins like the ones I've just mentioned here, as well as XCN, really start to outperform. So where exactly do I think XCN could get to in the short term? Now, XCN, I believe, is on the cusp of giving us something. There's several patterns right now that I am monitoring, all stemming from this consolidation that we have seen here. First and foremost, what you should know is that this consolidation here could be seen as something similar to the consolidation that we had in mid-January. Of course, we had that initial pump there. We had 5 days where the price was trending around the 1 to 1.5 cents region. And then after 5 days, we saw this massive pump all the way to 5 cents. Now, of course, at the moment, we have lasted slightly longer here on Onyxcoin. It's been nearly 2 weeks now since we've been consolidating. But I do think we are going to see a pump sooner rather than later to the upside. And there's several patterns, like I say, that I'm watching. The first one that we were monitoring yesterday here on this channel looked something a little bit like this. Of course, this here is a pennant type pattern. It's occurred right after this parabolic move that we saw here on Onyxcoin. And the price action that we saw yesterday could be regarded as a fake out to the downside. This was a bear trap. We saw the prices start to pump back above the support line of this pennant, and we saw a breakout to the upside just a few hours ago. And note as well, guys, that we did see a substantial increase in trading volume. That's exactly what we wanted to see. And as you can see, it's also green, meaning that this trading volume was mostly buyers. So we saw quite a confirmed breakout here on Onyxcoin. So one of the price targets that I'm monitoring here for Onyxcoin over the coming days is this one here. Of course, the price target from this pennant pattern here sits at up to 3.3 cents. Of course, guys, if you are looking for a great place to trade any breakout here on Onyxcoin, then look no further than the MEXC exchange, because this is the exchange that I use for all my trading here on Onyxcoin, because they have some of the lowest fees and they don't require KYC to get started. And for a limited time, if you sign up using the link in the description down below, they'll give you a free $20 to get started. So you can use that, for example, to buy some Onyxcoin. Of course, if you want to make use of this offer, sign up using the link in the description down below. It takes less than a minute to do so. Just make sure you deposit some fiat or crypto into your newly made MEXC account, and they'll give you that money straight away. Of course, guys, thank you so much for your support on this channel, and let's get back into this video. So this is one of the price targets, like I say, that I'm monitoring. Of course, another thing that has come to me as well, just over the past few hours. I have also noticed this type of pattern. If I get two horizontal lines here, the first one we can draw on this chart, and as you can see, we have 2 points where it comes down to exactly the same level at 1.65 cents. What we also have is a fairly decent resistance here where the prices actually come up to this level, as we can see it several times in this region over here. So this is the neckline or the resistance for this double bottom pattern we could be seeing. Of course, the trend here on Onyxcoin was mildly bearish for a short term there, and what we could be seeing in the shorter term here over the next few hours is a breakout if prices can clear this 1.96 cents level. Again, we do need to see a bit of increase in trading volume for that to happen, but if we do see a clear breakout to the upside, the initial price target from this should be 2.3 cents. Now, of course, that may not be particularly exciting to you guys, a 17% trade there, but it could give Onyxcoin the energy it needs to reach this upper price target here at 3.3 cents. Of course, the most bullish pattern that I'm also monitoring here on Onyxcoin is something that might look like this. So again, from my previous video, we were monitoring these two trend lines because they are roughly parallel. And if we do see prices head to that 3.3 cents level and they continue to go up, we can basically say that the next price target stemming from this bull flag that we could be seeing should sit at 3.7 cents. So this is the uppermost price target from this shorter term consolidation that I can see. Of course, 3.3 cents could be a good take profit level or a partial take profit level if you're looking to trade this move. And of course, the first price target we could be seeing is that double bottom pattern at 2.3 cents. So of course, these are my shorter term price predictions, and I have a high conviction that we are going to see that over the coming days. Something that I do want to show you guys, particularly if you've not yet seen this, is that correlation between Bitcoin and Onyxcoin, because at the moment, of course, we know that Bitcoin is pumping quite hard, and we can see the difference in proportions here between that Bitcoin pump and this Onyxcoin pump that we are seeing. Of course, both are moving in tandem, but Bitcoin at the moment is outperforming, and that, guys, is completely natural. Let me take you guys back to the start of November of 2024 when Trump got elected as president, and we can see a very similar story here on Onyxcoin. Now, what we saw back in November is exactly what we are seeing right now, in my opinion. Of course, as you can see, Bitcoin made this 50% move in the upwards direction. It went pretty parabolic here during this time frame, whereas Onyxcoin in that exact same time frame did this move here. So although Onyxcoin went in the same direction as Bitcoin, Onyxcoin clearly underperformed. Where Onyxcoin did really well, which was this second portion here from late November to the start of December, we can see that Onyxcoin went from 0.15 cents to a high there of 0.36 cents, over a 2x. And Bitcoin in that same period was kind of more just consolidating. It was still in this uptrend, of course, but the prices on Bitcoin were going nowhere near as high as they were in the start of November. And so essentially, we see Onyxcoin in this region in the later part of November playing catch up here with the pump that Bitcoin has had. So that dynamic that we are seeing is occurring right now. We'll probably see something like this on Onyxcoin, where we are still mildly bullish, whilst Bitcoin is doing this massive move. I personally think, by the way, guys, that since we've cleared this 91 to 92k region here on Bitcoin, which is a massive zone of support and resistance, I personally think that honestly, the next targets should be at least 100k here on Bitcoin. If not, the previous all-time high is within reach. So if Bitcoin's making this move, basically this path that I've outlined in green here, I think that Onyxcoin is initially going to underperform. It's going to do well, but it's going to underperform Bitcoin. When Bitcoin relaxes a little bit, at whatever level it relaxes at, whether it is the 100k level or the 108k level as the previous all-time high level, then that's when we start to see Onyxcoin really make a move like we saw back over here. So that's kind of the shorter term bullish prospect that I'm seeing right now here on Onyxcoin. Of course, there's a lot of driving factors for Onyxcoin to do better. For example, don't forget that we've got this global liquidity increasing, and we generally tend to see a strong correlation between the crypto markets and the global liquidity. Of course, it makes sense intuitively because the more money that is available, the more money that's going to flow into crypto, and that's why prices both rise in tandem. And as you can see from this chart, the red line is Bitcoin, and of course Bitcoin we know is correlated to the crypto market, so by extension the global liquidity in black should be very correlated to the crypto market, and therefore as we start to see this global liquidity increase like we have been doing, we're going to see XCN increase. Also on top of that as well, we've also seen a massive jump in the crypto fear and greed index. Yesterday's video we were at 38, and I told you in that video that I was monitoring this double bottom pattern here on the fear and greed index, because twice did we see it go down to extreme fear at 15, and therefore we had this potential double bottom pattern with a target at 54. So we've almost met the target from this double bottom pattern here on the fear and greed index. It's pretty remarkable stuff. Of course, on the longer term here for Onyxcoin as well, my price targets are still very ambitious here for Onyxcoin, because I think it's going to be a project that does extremely well in 2025. And basically my price targets still lie along these Fibonacci levels. Basically, we know that Onyxcoin really does respect these fib levels as places of support and resistance, essentially playing it fib by fib. And so if we see a good 2025 and we break past that previous high there at 5 cents, my personal price targets here for Onyxcoin lie on this 1.41 fib here and this 1.618 fib. The first fib there is roughly between 17 to 18 cents, and we really like this one because that's also the previous all-time high here for Onyxcoin. So that is my first price target for 2025. My second one, the more ambitious one, sits at up to 33 cents. And of course, one of the driving forces for this, in my opinion as well, will be the fact that if we go on the total crypto market cap, this pattern here that we are seeing on the total crypto market cap, as you guys can see, is a cup and handle pattern. Here is the cup formation that we have seen over the last 3 years. We saw a clear handle, which was this consolidation, this sort of downtrend that we saw between the resistance and the support for 6 months. We saw a clear breakout to the upside. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, I was concerned because the prices started to break down below this support here, which would invalidate this pattern. But since we've seen quite a quick recovery, I still personally believe that we could be on for this cup and handle pattern. And this obviously gives crypto the motive to get to a $10 trillion market cap at the height of the bull market in 2025. So if this is going to be happening, that's going to be roughly 3.5%, a 3.5x increase here in the market cap in crypto. And of course, XCN being a spectacular project, I do expect it to outperform the average crypto gains this bull run. And so I do think that's going to be a driving factor for XCN to go much higher here at some point in 2025. But for now, in the shorter term, like I say, I'm monitoring what the prices are going to be doing as a result of that triangle pattern that I showed you, potential bull flag pattern that I showed you, and this double bottom pattern that I also showed you. Of course, the initial price target is 2.3 cents. If we can break past that, then we could be heading to 3.3 cents. And the top there in the shorter term is at 3.7 cents. In the longer term, anywhere between 17 cents to 33 cents is my target. Of course, that's basic. Of course, that's what I wanted to say here on Onyxcoin. If you are holding Onyxcoin, by the way, guys, and you're not yet staking it, be sure to check out this video on how to stake your Onyxcoin. At the moment, it's a 31% APR, meaning that if you stake $1,000 worth of XCN, by the end of the year, you earn $310 just as complete passive income, and you can unstake at any time and just take your money out whenever you need it. So it's a very generous offer in my opinion. It's probably also contributing to the longer term gains that we are seeing here on Onyxcoin. Of course, at the end of the day, Onyxcoin's performance is still extremely spectacular. If you look at the 6-month gain that we've had here on Onyxcoin, it's up 16x. And maybe a big part of that is the fact that Onyxcoin is offering such generous staking rewards. So check that video out if you're interested in staking. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.